guest right here on the line, and we're going to be talking to Dr. Tony Aidoo. He served as senior presidential aide and head of the policy evaluation and oversight unit of the office of the president, John Evans Atta Mills, His Excellency, from 2009 to 2013. And in addition to being a member of the Cabinet's economic management team for 3 years, Dr. Tony Aidoo held the post of ambassador to Netherlands under John Mahama's previous administration. Today, my brother, my sister, we're talking to this maverick politician, and he's going to be talking to us about so many different issues. Dr. Tony Aidoo, good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Blakk Rasta. I'm doing fine.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear your voice one more time. And thanks so much for accepting to talk to us.
Thank you for having me on your program.
All right.
Perhaps the first time I'm coming on your program.
Yes, for the very first time. I appreciate this. Dr. Tony Aidoo, I mean, you have a very rich political background. Tell me, did you all along want to be a politician from the start?
No, I did not want to be a politician. I wanted to be an academic.
Wow.
Former President Rawlings is the one who maneuvered me into politics. We had a personal relationship during the PNDC days. But then I don't know how to put it, but he got Justice Anand to bring me into mainstream politics by making me a representative of the Central Region CDR at the Consultative Assembly. After that, there was no turning back.
Interesting. As an academic, what exactly did you want to study and what did you want to do?
Well, I have a sociological background, and sociology is my major discipline. But I also read economics. I read international relations and international economic law. And I did my PhD in mainstream philosophy, what we call epistemology, theory of knowledge, and how to bring about positive knowledge that is grounded in facts and verifiable facts. So that was my PhD.
Interesting.
Combining 3 major subjects or 3 major disciplines to answer a simple question about the structure of the world economy and how come southern countries, third world countries, are poor and the northern countries are rich.
Very enviable disciplines. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to ask you this next one. Have you regretted being a politician?
Oh, that's a difficult question to answer. I don't know. I don't know where my academic career would have taken me, but I was on course, and I don't know the extent to which
Wow.
I have made a contribution to the development of my country as a politician. But all in all, my one regrettable thing is that the democracy we are experiencing over the past 30 or more years has not been near to the benefit of the common people, and that's my greatest regret. We seem to have created a parasitic class of politicians whose major aim is to live as parasites to the detriment of the ordinary person in Ghana.
Is it it going to be any different from the John Dramani Mahama government? I mean, you have a lot of experience.
But I don't know the extent to which the Mahama administration will end up giving greater benefits to the people of Ghana. But for the moment, it's a blessing that we've got rid of the most corrupt, incompetent government of the past 8 years under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That in itself is a blessing to Ghana. It's up to the Mahama administration to take it out from there, to reset the country for better prospects.
Are you...
So far, hello?
Yes, are you still part of this government? Are you still contributing your quota to this government of the NDC?
I'm not an active member. I have not been given any appointment, nor have I been given any specific role to play. I always play my role according to my conscience. I come on the media when an issue pricks my conscience to speak. And I speak no matter whose ox is God.
Are you expecting an appointment? Tell me honestly.
No, I'm not.
Would you be disappointed if you don't get one?
No, when you have no expectations, where does the disappointment come from?
If you were going to be appointed, where would you perform best?
Blakk Rasta, that is a moot question because it doesn't arise. I have no expectations, so why should I think about where I want to be?
Dr. Tony Aidoo is my guest, and we are talking in the African history class. Now, Doc, walk me through your achievements as a politician, a senior politician.
Contributing my quota to policy formulation. Even though I didn't get the necessary cooperation when it came to policy monitoring and evaluation because they won't give me the data. But that's the story of the Fourth Republic. Don't forget, mine was just a small unit at the office of the president. We've had under the MPP a whole ministry of monitoring and evaluation that collapsed because of lack of cooperation. My good friend Akoto Osei was the minister. I recall when I presented my last budget to the parliamentary committee, he was the one who said, your unit should have been backed by law. Now, he had his unit supported as a full ministry, and he couldn't do much because of lack of cooperation, lack of transparency. People don't want you to know what they are doing behind the scenes. I had no right to demand data.
Wow.
And I thought the presidency would back me up, but they never did. So that's how it happened.
Interesting. Would you say you are an accomplished politician right now as we speak?
Accomplished in what?
Accomplished in your duties as a politician, your journey as a politician, or you still have a lot to offer?
Blakk Rasta. I'm not as young as I used to be back in 2009.
Right.
So I cannot say whether I'm fit enough for further duties. But when I was fit, I did my best.
What would be your biggest achievement?
We are diving into personality profiling interviews now. I told your producer that I don't do personality profile interviews.
Okay, no problem at all.
The questions you are asking me
All right.
are becoming too personal. Let's talk about issues that are more interesting. Tony Aidoo is not an interesting person. What comes out of my mind is what we should be discussed. And what comes out of my mind is concentrated on current issues.
Well, that is fair enough. Dr. Tony Aidoo, I'm going to take you through this. Why has it been difficult for us to run a democracy that would benefit the citizenry?
Because of selfish interests. Look at all the people entering politics. What are their aims? Has our politics become moneycracy, what they call kleptocracy?
Right.
People don't enter politics, as I've observed, for the benefit of their communities. They enter politics to enrich themselves, buying votes and creating a situation of dependency for the electorate. So it becomes difficult. The national interest seeps into the background. Personal, parochial, class interests reigns. And that's a shame.
Wow. Is this going to change anytime soon? How can we change that?
How can we change? It's up to the electorate. They have to demand what is their right. And their right is to a higher standard of living, less costly living.
Right.
Their right to demand accountability from those who choose or who they choose to lead them. Which means we must have greater transparency.
Right.
In what the leadership does at all times.
This is
we need to have
3FM.
attitudinal change. And changing attitudes is a very long story. It takes a long time. Yesterday, I watched on Channel 1 TV somebody who has gone to dig up a road sign and was peddling it for 100 cedis.
Oh, my God.
He said they took it from Achimota Golf Course. That is the kind of destructive attitude. So both the governed and the governors are stealing from the people.
Right.
They're stealing from the country. Nobody has a national interest, or very few people have national interest. How can the government spend money to erect road signs and you go and cut it to go and sell it for yourself? How?
That's terrible. You have seen a number of governments. I mean, as a senior politician, which one would you say has been the best and why?
Which one is what?
The best and why so far?
Well, the question is relative. It's relative to the circumstances under which a particular government comes to power. If you come to power handicapped with so many debts, your chances of progression is very limited. If you come to power with a whole lot of benefits, the expectation is that you should build on it rather than retrogress. So it's a relative question. That's a question I cannot answer. I can't say this government has been good or bad. Yet, some governments have brought about progressive changes. J.J. Rawlings was one. But he had the opportunity to do better. Atta Mills was another.
This is 3FM.
He had the nation at heart, incorruptible. And yet, he departed the scene long before his time. The best government so far, as the history of Ghana is concerned, is Kwame Nkrumah's government.
Interesting.
The government that achieved the most for Ghanaians. Infrastructure, education, health, etc., no government has ever equaled Kwame Nkrumah's success. Unfortunately, he became a victim of his own party machinations. He should never have allowed the cult of personality to be propagated by his party people. His downfall was the cult of personality, which he allowed to prevail during his governorship.
Right.
The trouble with
This
African
is
leaders
3FM.
is this cult of personality. The horsewhip is Jomo Kenyatta's hand, the big heart in Museveni's head, all kinds of gadgets. Very, very laughable creatures parading themselves as leaders of a country that needs a good leadership. It's so sad.
Yes, it is sad. It is indeed sad. I mean, you are a well-traveled man. I mean, at a point, you were the ambassador to the Netherlands. Tell me, what do you think about dual citizenships, and especially with dual citizenship holders taking part in our politics here in Ghana?
I have no objection to persons holding dual citizenship and bringing their expertise to bear on our developmental programs. They should be allowed to hold posts so long as their integrity is safeguarded. But this is the problem. The people who are serving now, they were abroad. So most of them were trained abroad. When they are abroad, they are law-abiding citizens. When they come to Ghana, they are law-breaking citizens. Why? Is it a leadership problem or a societal problem?
This is 3FM.
I think it's a societal problem. Our society is what we call a consummatory traditional society. We will rather give our loyalty to the chief than to the national government. An Asante man will revere the Asante and scorn the president. That is the basis of our problem. Our basic problem is lack of national identification and loyalty to the nation.
Right. Many people believe that people in power should not be allowed to travel outside the country and seek medical attention. What is your view on this?
Yes, I believe so. We should have a situation where the leaders improve our health system. But you can afford healthcare abroad. What about the common people who have given you their power? Where did you get the money to seek medical attention abroad? And some, the Medivac is not often sponsored by the state. It is out of their private pocket. So where did they get the money?
So in your opinion,
we need to be building good healthcare systems in our country so that there is no need to take our healthcare issues abroad. We have brilliant physicians.
This is 3FM.
What they need is the necessary motivation. And motivation is not necessarily in terms of remuneration. Good hospitals, both in building and equipment, will motivate our healthcare personnel to stay. But and governments reducing this need to share rhetoric. Akufo-Addo said he was pursuing Agenda 111.
Right.
He ended up with one hospital which he commissioned, which was not equipped. What would have happened if the money he spent had focused on a few hospitals? We would have had hospitals of excellence rather than Agenda 111. He broke down Labadi healthcare system. He pulled down the hospital to build it. 6 years later, that hospital is still not built. Why? How can you be so wicked to people who supported your presidency? It's a shame.
Now, coming to the Mahama government right now, what do you want to see in this government happen?
I want to see the government firm in the pursuit of his promises. So far here, Mahama has delivered some promises.
Right.
And yet, there is a lot to be done. Galamsey is one area. Why can't he repeal the act that allows people to go and mine in our forest areas? Why can't he repeal? Why can't he declare a state of emergency in those forests and on our rivers? Why? Is it because NDC personnel are involved? Or what? What is he afraid of? That the private people mining will sue him? Why? I just don't understand it. So far, what he's done is to try and distance himself from the fight against Galamsey by taking his power in that act away. But that's not what we want.
Right.
We want to uproot Galamsey in our forests and rivers. We are being poisoned. And they should act. We don't want stories about the president's power is gone. So what? The menace is still there. People are dying. Innocent policemen going to chase Galamseyers.
Right.
Drowns. Why? Why should that be? And how much money do Ghana get from this mining nonsense? You know the story of small-scale mining?
Please tell me.
Years ago, I was traveling with President Rawlings, and I asked him the question, why don't you chase away these big mining companies and leave the land to our small-scale miners who will use pickaxe and hoes to dig out the gold? Because what we get from these big companies is not more than 6% royalty. Why don't we take out the 6% for ourselves and leave the gold down the ground, because gold doesn't rot?
That's right.
And I think somewhere in 1988 or so, he promulgated the law that allows small-scale mining.
Wow.
We weren't mining with excavators. They were mining with their small pickaxes. There were no threat to the environment. Suddenly, from Kufuor's time, the excavators started coming in. Chinese people started flooding into the country, digging up our trees, digging up our land, spoiling our waters. Why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
Right. Right.
It's not only to the detriment of the people unborn. It's to the detriment of the living. We are daily faced with the risk of all kinds of diseases from the poison waters that we are compelled to drink. Why should that be?
Would you then...
And why do we enter mining contracts That gives us
This
nothing more
is
than 10%.
3FM.
When we can have more.
Right.
The resource is not for the foreigner. It is our resources.
Right. Right.
So why can't we have value for money?
Value for money. Value for money. Would you say that you are then the brainchild of small-scale mining in Ghana?
You mean, am I against small-scale mining?
No, are you the brainchild? Were you the one who pushed
No,
the agenda?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because I was not the only advisor of President Rawlings. But I pointed it out that it makes better sense to dig up the percentage of gold that comes to us than to allow these people to take away volumes of gold and give us that small percentage.
Interesting. If you were in the shoes of the president, John Dramani Mahama, how would you handle Galamsey?
I would chase all the Galamseyers away. He promised that he was going to go after those who finance the laborers to go and mine. So far, how many financiers have been arrested? You know, Woon to me and Isakonta mining were in the forest. Has any charges been brought against Woon to me since he came to power? We know of a party secretary, regional or district or whatever secretary, who is a Galamsey, NDC. He said he was going to sack anybody who goes into mining. Whether you are doing it legally or illegally.
Right.
So what is that man still doing in the party, in the Western region?
Right.
What is he still doing there? Chuck him out of the party. It's your image that is being destroyed.
Which man is this?
Well, they say he's a party chairman or, I don't know, a constituency chairman or, I don't know.
Is
I don't know the
3FM.
details, but it's been in the media.
Some people have, in fact, subscribed or prescribed shoot to kill in this Galamsey fight. Do you subscribe to that as well?
That's a difficult question, Blakk Rasta.
This is 3FM.
How do you shoot people who are hired to go and dig gold for those financiers, big financiers sitting in Accra? And yet, these small-scale diggers are the ones causing the destruction of the forests and the rivers.
You have just 1 minute remaining. You can now stop talking now.
Excavate.
This is
Go and hire
3FM.
laborers to go and dig up the gold and destroy the forest? Or is it those who are hired to go and do it? Who deserves to be shot? I don't know. It's a very difficult situation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So if it was in the tenure of Jerry John Rawlings, you were a very good friend of his. How would he have handled this?
He would really have been very positive in his actions.
How?
I know Rawlings. Some time ago, I'll tell you a story.
Tell me.
Some time ago,
This is 3FM.
road accidents became so rampant.
You have no call credits in your.
This is 3FM.
Well, my name is Blakk Rasta, speaking with Dr. Tony Aidoo. We're going to reconnect with him. For obvious reasons, we have run out of airtime. yet. And I do apologize for this, man. All right. My producer says we have reconnected with Dr. Tony Aidoo. Dr. Tony Aidoo, sorry about that. We ran out of credit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Why? Joy FM doesn't pay you enough money.
Well, in fact, this is a 3FM, and we are God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So we are spiritually rich.
This is 3FM.
Sorry about that, Doc. Please, you are telling me a story.
Yes, I was saying that years ago, he asked me the question regarding the spate of road accidents that were happening on our roads. And he said, I wish these people will be taken to court and sentenced to death, and I will sign the death warrant.
Wow. That was what Rollins said.
Yes. He didn't want people recklessly taking the lives of others. And it was these commercial drivers killing our people just like that. Reckless driving on our roads. He said, if these people are prosecuted and sentenced to death, I will sign their death warrants.
Wow. Would he have done the same with Galamsey?
Well, when he
This
told me
is
this, we were not in
3FM.
a democratic environment. He was still the soldier governing us. I don't know how far he has changed, or he would have condoned signing a death warrant for a Galamsey. But the law of karma is after the Galamseyers themselves. They are drowning, aren't they?
They are dying one after the other. But the police and soldiers too are dying.
Well, maybe we should try and limit the casualties on the part of the law enforcement agencies. But if the law of karma takes the Galamseyers away, we shouldn't cry, because they are killing innocent people with poison water and destroying environments.
Right.
So let them die.
Oh.
If they die accidentally without the
This
action
is
of
3FM.
law enforcement officers, that's okay. It's God that is punishing them.
How about LGBTQI plus? It's a big issue right now. Do you think that President Mahama would sign it into law?
I'm not in his mind, so I don't know.
Would you want him to?
But he's committed to keeping Ghanaian culture free of the influence of this obnoxious activity. He has said so himself.
This is 3FM.
Perhaps the one stumbling block is the fact that it was a promoted bill, private members' bill. And constitutionally, it's not supposed to impose financial cost to the state. Maybe, as he said, it could be sponsored by the state, by the government.
Right.
And then we will be rid of this menace. Because there are no animal rights. There is no human right that says a man should sleep with a man and a woman with a woman. They are
This
not
is
human
3FM.
rights.
I'm going to ask you a final question, probably, and we'll be done. I wish we had another 5 hours to speak with you, because I'm really enjoying speaking with you, Dr. Tony Aidoo. Some. Sometimes I wonder how people like you are able to stay clean in politics? I have never read anywhere that you were caught in any controversial act of corruption and all that, all your time in politics till now. How have you been able to stay clear of corruption?
By keeping myself just. There's no way I can stand 1 hour in a police station, much more hours in a police cell. I'll die. So I'm afraid. Besides, I grew up in a home where disciplined conduct was taught us. In all my life, I was only hit once by my father. And the occasion was that where we were living in Ashtown, there was a bread maker called AEB. And some people have gone to hijack a bread van full of bread and come and pack it at the back of our house. And as kids, we went and took some of the bread. And when my father heard that, he whacked me and told me to take the bread back.
Interesting.
So we were brought up and trained not to touch any other person's property. Everything I've earned it legitimately.
Right.
And I never envy anybody what he's got. I'm not in competition with anybody in terms of material wealth.
Interesting. Would you say that you are a role model to some people in this country?
I'm not a role model to anybody. I'm just Tony Aidoo. If you like me and you like my way of life and you want to copy it, that's up to you. But I don't set out myself to mentor anybody. We are all free agents.
Dr. Tony Aidoo, I want to say thank you so much for talking to us. One very last question and we are done. If there was an opportunity to return to the world again, would you be a politician or you be an academician? Which one?
I'll be an academician.
You are tired with politics?
At least politics in Africa. When I was in the UK, I joined the Labour Party. I distributed pamphlets. I was a very active member of the Labour Party. Coming to Ghana, I didn't want to go into politics. I was compelled to. But I enjoyed every bit of my stay, not forgetting that I had my moments of despair. And I still despair the direction in which the politicians have taken the country.
Interesting. The marijuana bill is still hanging around us. Would you want to see it?
This is 3FM.
You once asked me.
You remember that?
I met you personally at Joy FM.
Wow! You have the brain of an elephant. So you remember this is about 15 years back.
Yes, and you asked me if somebody smoked ganja. And I said, no, I don't know. I've never seen him do it. And I was always wondering, why did you ask me that question?
Well, so this bill is still on. Do you want to see it signed into law?
Well, I don't know what held Akufo-Addo from assenting to that bill.
Right.
Probably the problem may be a technical one, how to distinguish medical marijuana from social marijuana. That is I don't know, I think that's a scientific question.
Right, it is. Yes.
Yes. And whether in legitimizing it, people are not going to take advantage of the medical by infusing
The
social
unmedical.
marijuana into the whole system. On the other hand, there is logic in that if you legalize marijuana, it will become less of a scarce commodity and therefore less subject to criminal activities
This is 3FM.
like ordinary tobacco. The health aspect of it, I believe, need to be researched. What effect does constant smoking of marijuana does to the human brain and the
This
human
is
body?
3FM.
Cigarettes also hurt. I smoke, and I know the negative effects that I have.
Oh, you smoke? Okay.
I beg your pardon?
I said I didn't know you smoked.
I smoke cigarettes. I
Oh.
don't smoke marijuana.
Oh, not marijuana. Okay.
No,
okay.
I've never smoked marijuana. In fact, I never take any drug. But if you consider tobacco as a drug, then I'm guilty.
All right,
I
Doc.
smoke cigarettes.
All right, Doc. I want to say thank you so much for talking to us. It's been quite inspirational. I want to end with this. What reggae song would you want me to play for you? Do you love reggae music?
Bob Marley, this is a rat race.
Rat Race. I see. Are you able to sing a little bit of it for me?
Yes, but my voice is bad. Oh.
I will appreciate it like that.
Oh, no, Blakk Rasta, don't tempt me. you have the voice. You have the voice. The last time I saw you was at the castle
Wow.
when you came to meet Obama.
Right.
Remember?
I remember. Wow. Yes,
By singing his arrival
That's
at
right.
the presidency. Unfortunately, he too was a very disappointment.
He was?
Yes, he was. He supported LGBTQ. Why?
This
Why?
is
What has an
3FM.
African got to do with LGBTQ?
Yes.
And why did he have to go and kill Gaddafi? Why?
He apologized for that after all.
He did?
Yes, he did.
He
He apologized. He said it was
While
the
they
biggest
kill our
mistake.
prophets,
Yes.
and we sit down and look.
Wow.
Well,
My producer is telling me if you had sung a line of the Rat Race, it would be all over Ghana that Tony Aidoo has such a wonderful voice.
no, I won't sing.
This is 3FM.
Just play it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Aidoo, for talking to us. I do appreciate
Thank you for
this.
having me, Blakk Rasta.
All right.
Yeah.